Hello my dear students, welcome to my YouTube channel, that's Concepts of Chemistry. Before starting today's lecture, please do subscribe my channel. My dear students, today's topic for the lecture is the Lewis symbol of elements, or we can say the electron dot structure of elements. What does Lewis symbol represents? So we are writing Lewis symbols of any element represents number of valence electrons that is number of electrons in the outermost shell of any element. In the outermost shell of any element. The Lewis symbols are used to represent ionic, covalent and coordinate bonds also. These symbols are very helpful in representing the ionic, covalent and coordinate bonds. So let me take an example. Assume we are talking about the sodium. I'm writing, for example, let's talk about the sodium. The symbol for sodium is Na. What's the atomic number of sodium? It's 11. So the electronic configuration, the general electronic configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 1. This configuration is representing that 2 electrons are present in the first shell, 8 electrons are present in the second shell, and 1 electron is present in the third shell. Here, the valence shell will be the third shell. So, I am writing third shell will be the valence shell, or you can say the outermost shell. Outermost shell. So how many electrons are present in the outermost shell of sodium? It's 1 electron. So you have to show electron in the form of dot with the symbol. So I'm showing 1 electron as a dot. So that's the Lewis symbol for sodium. I hope you all understood this. Now let's represent Lewis symbols of atomic number 1 to 20. So let's start. So now let's talk about the atomic number 1. It's hydrogen. The symbol for hydrogen is H. The configuration will be 1. Here only one shell is present and 1 electron is in the first shell. So the Lewis symbol for hydrogen comes out to be H with 1 dot, but that is 1 electron. Now let's talk about the atomic number 2. It's helium. The symbol for helium is He. The electronic configuration will be 2. Here again the shell is only 1 and the electrons are 2 in the first shell, that is a valence shell. So the Lewis symbol for helium comes out to be He with 2 dots, that is 2 electrons. Now let's talk about the atomic number 3. It's lithium. The symbol for lithium is Li. The configuration for atomic number 3 comes out to be 2, 1. Here there are total of 2 shells. In the first shell we are having 2 electrons. In the outermost or the second shell we are having 1 electron. So we will represent Lewis symbol for lithium will be Li with 1 dot, that is 1 electron in the outermost shell. Now let's talk about the atomic number 4. It's beryllium. The symbol for beryllium is Be, and the configuration comes out to be, for atomic number 4 it comes out to be 2, 2. Now here again we are having 2 shells. In the first shell we are having total of 2 electrons. In the second shell or outermost shell we are having again 2 electrons. So the symbol for beryllium comes out to be, the Lewis symbol for beryllium will be Be with 1 electron and a second electron, that is 2 electrons in the outermost shell. Now let's talk about the atomic number 5. It's boron. The symbol for boron is capital B only. The configuration for atomic number 5 comes out to be 2, 3. Here we are having 2 shells. In the first shell we are having 2 electrons. In the second shell, that is the outermost shell, we are having total of 3 electrons. So we are representing the symbol like, that's a B, that for boron we are having total of 3 electrons in the outermost or valence shell. So you want to show this like electron, electron, and we got total of 3 electrons in the Lewis symbol of boron. Now let's talk about the carbon, the atomic number 6, that is carbon. The symbol for carbon is C. The electronic configuration of atomic number 6 comes out to be 2, 4. Now here again we are having 2 shells. In the first shell is 2 electrons. In the second shell or outermost shell we are having total of 4 electrons. So this symbol comes out to be C. We have to represent the 4 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the Lewis symbol for carbon. Now let's talk about the atomic number 7. It's nitrogen. The symbol for nitrogen is capital N. The configuration comes out to be 2, 5. Again we are having 2 shells. In the first shell it's 2 electrons, but in the outermost shell or the second shell we are having total of 5 electrons. So configuration comes out to be, the Lewis symbol for nitrogen comes out to be the capital N, and here we have to show the total of 5 electrons, as 5 electrons are present in the outermost shell. So we have to represent it by 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5. Now let's talk about the atomic number 8, that's oxygen. The symbol for oxygen is O. The configuration for atomic number 8 comes out to be 2, 6. Now here again we are having 2 shells. The first shell is having 2 electrons, and the second shell, that is the outermost shell, is having total of 6 electrons. So we have to represent 6 electrons in the Lewis symbol. So that's my oxygen. That's the first electron, second electron, third electron, fourth electron, fifth electron and a sixth electron. So we got total of 6 electrons in the outermost shell of the oxygen atom. Now let's talk about the atomic number 9, that's fluorine. The symbol for fluorine is capital F. The configuration comes out to be 2, 7. Here again we are having 2 shells. The first shell is having 2 electrons, but the second shell, that is the outermost shell, is having total of 7 electrons. So we have to show 7 dots in the symbol of fluorine for the Lewis symbols. So it's a fluorine. We have to show the 7 electrons. So it's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and the 7th. Now let's talk about the atomic number 10. That's neon. That's a noble gas. Uh, its symbol is Ne. The configuration comes out to be 2, 8. So we got a complete configuration of 8, that is octet in the outermost electrons. So again we are having two shells. The first shell is having 2 electrons and the second shell is having total of 8 electrons. That is stable noble gas configuration. So we have to show the neon and a total of 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So at neon we got completely filled 2 shells. So that's a noble gas. In case of noble gas, we got totally filled first 2 shells. The first shell can accommodate maximum of 2 electrons and the second shell can again accommodate maximum of 8 electrons. I'm repeating it again. The first shell can accommodate maximum of 2 electrons and the second shell can accommodate maximum of 8 electrons. That's why neon is a noble gas, because it has completely filled electronic configuration of first 2 shells, the 2 electrons in the first shell and the 8 electrons in the second shell. Now let's come to the next atomic number, that's 11. That 11 stands for sodium. From sodium, the filling of third shell will begin. The symbol for sodium is Na, and the configuration comes out to be first shell 2 electrons, second shell 8 electrons, and the third shell with 1 electron. So here the outermost shell comes out to be the third shell, which is having only 1 electron. So we have to show the Lewis symbol like sodium with a 1 electron only. Now let's talk about the atomic number 12. That's magnesium. The atomic symbol for magnesium is Mg, and its configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 2. Here the first shell is having 2 electrons, the second shell is having 8 electron, and the third shell, that is the outermost shell, is having total of 2 electrons only. So we have to show the symbol like Mg, and we have to show the 2 dots, the 1 and the 2, that is the 2 electrons. Now let's talk about the atomic number 13. That's aluminium. Its symbol is Al, and its configuration for atomic number 13 comes out to be 2, 8, 3. So here the first shell is having 2 electrons, second shell is having 8 electron, and the third shell, that is the valence shell, is having total of 3 electrons. So we have to show the Lewis symbol like, that's our aluminium, and we have to show the 3 electrons, that's a 1, 2 and a 3. Now let's talk about the atomic number 14, that's silicon. The silicon is represented by the symbol Si. The electronic configuration for atomic number 14 comes out to be 2, 8, 4. So here the first shell is having 2 electrons, the second is 8, and the third one, that is outermost shell, is having 4 electrons. So it comes out to be silicon. We have to show the 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3 and the 4. So that's the Lewis symbol. Now let's talk about the atomic number 15, that's phosphorus. The symbol for phosphorus is capital P, and its configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 5. The first shell is having 2 electrons, the second shell is 8 electron, and the outermost shell, that is the third shell, is having total of 5 electrons. So we have to show the 5 electrons for phosphorus, that's P, that's 1, the 2, 3, 4 and the 5. Now let's come to the atomic number 16. 16 is sulfur. The symbol for sulfur is capital S. Its configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 6. The first shell is having 2 electrons, the second shell is having 8 electrons, and the third shell is having 6 electrons. The third shell is the outermost shell and it's having total of 6 electrons. So we have to show the 6 electrons in the Lewis symbol of sulfur. So it's sulfur, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and that's 6. So we got a total of 6 electrons in the Lewis symbol of sulfur. Now let's come to the atomic number 17. That's chlorine. Chlorine, the symbol for chlorine is Cl. The atomic number is 17. So the electronic configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 7. So first shell is having 2 electrons, the second shell is having 8 electrons, and the third shell, the outermost shell, is having total of 7 electrons. So we have to show the 7 electrons in the Lewis symbol of chlorine. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and is 7. Now let's come to the atomic number 18. That's again noble gas, argon. Its symbol is Ar. The configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 8. So argon is a noble gas, that is, it is having completely filled electronic configuration in the first 3 shells. The first shell can accommodate maximum of 2 electrons, the second shell can accommodate maximum of 8 electrons, and the third shell, that is the outermost shell, is also having total of 8 electrons, and it's a maximum value for the number of electrons in the third shell. So it's a noble gas. So we are going to show the Lewis symbol for noble gas as Ar, and we have to show total of 8 electrons in the Lewis symbol. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8. Let's come to the atomic number 19. From atomic number 19, the filling of fourth shell will start as the first 3 shells are completely filled by the electrons, that is 2 electron in the first shell, 8 electron in the second shell, and again 8 electron in the third shell. So we are going to start the filling of fourth shell now from atomic number 19, and that's potassium. And that's potassium. The symbol for potassium is K. The configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 8, 1. So here the 2 electrons are present in first shell, 8 electrons in second, 8 electrons in third, and the 1 electron in the fourth shell, that is a valence shell, the outermost shell. So we have to take Lewis symbol like K with 1 electron only. So that's the Lewis symbol for K, or the potassium. Now let's come to the atomic number 20. That's calcium. The symbol for calcium is Ca, and the configuration comes out to be 2, 8, 8, 2. So here we are having 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 electrons in the second, 8 electrons in the third, and then finally 2 electrons in the fourth shell, or the valence shell, or the outermost shell. So that means we have to show 2 electrons in the Lewis symbol of calcium, as it's having 2 electrons in this outermost shell. So that's a calcium, and we have to show the 2 electrons, that's 1 and that's 2. So these are the Lewis symbols of first atomic numbers from 1 to 20. So these all are the Lewis symbols. You can see the column of Lewis symbols on the extreme right. These are the Lewis symbols of atomic number 1 to 20. These symbols will be very helpful in predicting the ionic bonds and the covalent bonds and the coordinate bonds also. It's a very important topic. Please do have a look of this lecture very carefully. So I hope you all understood today's lecture. If any student wants to book a paid one-to-one online class to clear their doubts, then she can contact me. My phone number is mentioned on thumbnail of this lecture. Please do like, subscribe and share this channel to maximum number of students. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Stay blessed.